Hello, everyone. This is Andy Stutzman of the Technology Learning Collaborative in Philadelphia and Drexel University. This is a recording of our PHL ConnectEd Digital Equity for Students webinar as part of National Digital Inclusion Week of 2020. It features a presentation from Ashley Pollard, who is the program manager for PHL ConnectEd with the Office of Innovation and Technology in the city. As well as after Ashley's presentation, we have a conversation with her and Bob Smith of Comcast. I apologize that the recording started just a little bit late, but hopefully you still enjoy it. Please reach out to us at tlcphilly.org or tlc_Philly on Twitter. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so as I mentioned, PHL Connected really is the K-12 solution in this larger digital equity strategy that the city has. So these are the components of PHL Connected. So first would be the internet service, and we have two solutions there. The first comes from Comcast, which offers wired access for all K-12 households without that access. The second solution are T-Mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, and those are specifically geared towards families who might need a mobile internet option. So this might be a really great solution for students that learn in different locations throughout the week, or those who might be experiencing housing insecurity or homelessness. And next is sort of the hardware piece. So the schools, as our partners, have committed to supplying the learning devices as they shift online anyway for the school year. And so they are committing to supplying devices for students. Now, I would say the focal piece of our operations is the 211 hotline, which is run through the United Way. The 211 hotline it sort of acts as our coordinating agent, and this is the first touch that families have when they are trying to get information about PHL Connected, and the first touch that they use when they have eligibility questions and want to proceed with the program. And then this final piece connects again with something that Andy mentioned. We're engaging city and community organizations to help with digital navigation. And so this looks like troubleshooting common technology issues before and after families have internet. So we want to make sure that these organizations are resources as families are navigating the process of getting connected, but also after they've gotten connected, making sure that we're continuing to follow up and serve as a resource for families as they're learning potentially new technology. So this is, at this moment, we're working with three buckets of criteria for families who might be eligible through PHL Connected. So our initial program eligibility and current program eligibility is for Philadelphia K-12 families who don't have internet access, might only have internet access through a mobile phone, or who are experiencing homelessness, are in between housing, maybe experiencing housing insecurity where a wireline connection is not going to be possible. Now, we are actively working to expand eligibility, so that is coming in the next few weeks. But our core for eligibility right now are targeting those families who do not have access or do not have reliable access. So I'll talk about the 211 hotline that I mentioned and the process flows. And again, this is sort of the focal point or the cornerstone of how folks can get connected. So 211 is a hotline. You dial 211. And 211 can help families learn about PHL Connected. They conduct initial eligibility screenings to determine if a family is eligible, meaning that they meet one of those three criteria that was on the last slide. They also will, 211 also will share information and instructions on the next steps for enrollment. So I mentioned the Comcast solution, and that is accessible through a promo code. And so 211 serves as a resource and a guide for providing the family with instructions for how to use that enrollment code. And then for the T-Mobile hotspot, similarly, instructions for how to pick up that hotspot. 211 is also a hub for referrals. So families can call 211 when seeking technical assistance, and can make a transfer to those digital navigators and other hotlines that might be set up to for folks to access the support that they need in using their technology. And that sort of connects to this last piece, getting help with setting up and using your internet solution. You know, if folks have the hotspot, or they now have the Comcast kit, 211 can serve as a resource. We're certainly going to make available the Comcast and T-Mobile hotline numbers as well. But 211 really serves as an initial touch point. And if 211 doesn't necessarily resolve the particular issues that a family has, they can refer families to entities that do have the tools to solve that issue. So these represent the current paths for getting connected. So with path A, this involves the schools really identifying eligible households and contacting them to make them aware of the program and how they can get set up. So this was really born out of a digital survey that the schools, the district and the charter schools specifically conducted over the summer, and I believe likely in the spring as well, as we saw the shift to digital learning with COVID-19. So a student's school can contact the household to provide the household with their enrollment code for Comcast Internet Essentials, or for instructions on how to pick up their hotspot. And again, these are families that they know through this survey do not have internet access, or who might be eligible for a hotspot. And so they can do a direct contact to provide that family with a solution. In path B, this is where the households will contact 211. So we know that situations might change from over the summer when those initial surveys were conducted. And so we want to make sure that regardless of where you as a family are with your internet accessibility, that you can still contact 211 to get connected. And I apologize, I'm realizing now the formatting and layout sort of broke up. So my apologies there. But first, households can call 211 to learn if they're eligible. 211 will conduct the pre-screening to determine their eligibility. And currently, the current state is that those households will then contact either the school district if they're a district student, their charter schools. We're also launching and bringing on the Independence Mission schools. And so right now, those families and households would contact their school to let them know, hey, 211 pre-screened me as eligible, I'd like to get connected. And then the school will confirm the eligibility, decide which internet solution is the best, because they oftentimes have more insight into what a family's needs are, and then provide instructions for getting connected. Now, I say that this is the current process. We are trying to eliminate and actively working towards eliminating that third step. And I guess the fourth step as well, or shifting it so that after a family calls 211 and 211 has pre-screened them as eligible, then 211 can provide the family with their Comcast Internet Essentials code, or would then say, you are eligible for a hotspot, you can go pick it up at X location, oftentimes going to be their school or their school central office. So that's the process that we're shifting to. And we're always trying to be cognizant of where folks might fall off in the process. And so that's why we're trying to make it as simple and efficient as possible. So in determining eligibility, this is sort of just a reiteration of the last slide. So we have, option 2 really involves the last slide. So the 211 hotline support follows these 4 processes. Again, the school, or if it's a school system like Independence Mission schools, will confirm the eligibility and then decide on the solution. Option 1, again, sort of relates back to the school-driven approach, where we're doing this proactive outreach. We know from the survey, for example, or because last week my student's family contacted me, I'm the teacher, and I now know that they need internet. I've identified them as eligible, and I can, my school can conduct the outreach to the family and make sure that they get the solution that they need, either the Comcast IE code or the hotspot, and provide it to them. And let's see, I'm just double checking on here. I think this slide is also very similar to the last slide. So we have our two paths. Either the school is contacting those households or the households are contacting the hotline. Okay, so that's a bit about the process. And then I mentioned these digital navigators. Andy, referenced those at the beginning of the presentation as well. So this sort of, the digital navigators really serve as an opportunity for families to have access to technical support. So a digital navigator acts sort of as like a digital support case manager. They can provide remote one-to-one support as households are learning and troubleshooting access and use of their technology. And so currently we have 4 digital navigators, and they are not just available to K-12 families, although they are certainly taking on this access for those families as PHLConnectEd is being stood up, but anybody in Philadelphia is able to contact these organizations. So we've got CMAC, the Drexel Excite Center, CLC, Community Learning Center, and Stepping Stone Scholars. And so those first 3 are funded through the city, and the Stepping Stone Scholars is funded through private donations. So here are examples of ways that a digital navigator can assist families specifically for PHLConnectEd. So this involves maybe completing the enrollment into Comcast Internet Essentials if a family has a code but doesn't know or is having difficulty with the next steps. A digital navigator can help in that process. They can help in connecting your devices. So my internet's set up, but I might need help connecting my phone and my laptop to the internet. Can you help with that? It also, they can also serve on connecting caregivers, family members who are assisting their students with digital learning in understanding how those digital tools work. For example, if a caregiver hasn't experienced or has not encountered Google Classroom, for example, there are ways that digital navigators can assist in making sure that it's set up. And some others, troubleshooting internet speed issues, supporting families on how to connect to jobs, telehealth, the larger digital picture here. And then digital literacy classes and trainings that are out there. But as the digital navigators identify families that could use some more intense support, they're also able to refer them to those as well. And again, these digital navigators, you can certainly call them directly, but if a family, particularly with PHLConnectEd, doesn't know their number or doesn't know where to go, they can call 211 to be referred to the digital navigator to get them the support they need. Okay, and here's how you can help and sort of next steps. So as I mentioned, PHLConnectEd was launched this summer, officially operating and launching in August. So we're still relatively new, and so awareness is key. You can help spread the word, and oftentimes organizers or organizations, community-based organizations, serve as trusted messengers. It's one thing if the city is promoting PHLConnectEd. It's another if schools or organizations with which families have existing relationships tell them about PHLConnectEd. So we encourage you to spread the word. Relatedly, the city has materials that we are flyers and presentations like this that we are more than willing to share. That way you can share that with your networks as well. The second is encourage families to dial 211. As a reminder, 211 really is that central hub to get started. And 211 will be able to, if they don't have the answer to the question, they'll be able to refer the individual calling to get to an entity that can get that, that answer for them. But ultimately, they really serve as the opportunity to determine eligibility and getting connected. And then the third is giving feedback. So as I mentioned, we're new, the program is new, so we're constantly evolving. And again, I would say we really want, one of our guiding principles is to ensure that the process for families is easy, that it's not onerous, that it's easy to digest. And so if you have thoughts on how to make that even more efficient, we would love your feedback. You can learn more at our PHLConnectEd website, and I can, it's phila.gov/PHLConnectEd. We have FAQs on that page, as well as other resources. We're also on Twitter, #PHLConnectEd, and at PHL Innovation. And then I've got some FAQs and other appendices information. I can certainly refer to these as folks have questions, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen here just so I can see everybody's view again. And I welcome any questions.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I believe the one question we have was answered. Michael was asking, how did you determine who had access through mobile devices? And I believe that was through the digital survey, a phone survey that the school district did earlier on.
Yes, through that survey. And as we're prioritizing those families in our first sort of eligibility criteria, 211, when they're on the call asking families or doing the pre-screen, that's one of the questions that they ask as well.
That's great. That's great. And as I'm running the Digital Navigator program here at Drexel, we one of the things we do offer is actually walking people through the Comcast Internet Essentials sign up page as well. So if people do have their code from their school district, we can actually help folks with that as well. And another thing to mention is that the funding just went out to several of the organizations, Digital Navigator programs as well, to actually go door to door to families. So we'll be doing that starting in this month, and actually doing some phone calls and doing some more flyering as well. I'm really trying to get the word out there to our local community too. So
yeah, that's tremendous. We're very excited about that. And to Andy's point, beyond the awareness piece, we also recognize that some of these families that are eligible, that we want to participate, might be difficult to reach. That's where this trusted messenger piece really comes into play. And so, yes, we've those 3 city-funded digital navigators just received an addendum to their grant to be able to conduct this more targeted outreach. And PHLConnectEd is sort of related to, not related to, but is similar to a program that Chicago has also implemented to address the digital equity issue for their K-12 households. It's called Connected. And from Chicago Connected, we know that they've been operating a little bit longer than PHLConnectEd. They know that it takes an average of 7 touch points with a family member to get them connected. So this targeted outreach that our digital navigators will conduct starting the middle of this month will really be, they'll be serving as those trusted messengers. The calls that Andy mentioned, some are going to be doing door-to-door knocking and other creative ways of getting those touch points. And so we're really excited about that targeted outreach.
Thanks. We had a question from Michael again. This is for the mobile hotspots, who handles the overage charges, and when they occur, or are the devices filtered at all?
So I'm not sure I'm familiar with the filtered language, but the PHLConnectEd is covering all of the costs for both the Comcast Internet Essentials solution as well as the T-Mobile hotspot solution. So there's no cost that a family incurs, and everything is covered by the city, or by the program, I should say, by PHLConnectEd.
And we have Bob Smith from Comcast here with us as well. So thanks for joining us, Bob.
Hi, Andy. Thank you to TLC for doing this. And Ashley, fantastic job explaining the program.
Thank you.
Yeah. And as folks may know as well, that the Comcast Internet Essentials is not just a Philly program, it is a national program right now. And that is one reason we're being encouraged to use the website. So actually using Digital Navigator programs to help people fill out those websites if they don't have access to fill out their application via website, because the call time can be a little long sometimes when you're calling up. That's mainly because it's a national program, and digital equity issues have really been highlighted through COVID-19. And a lot of cities like Chicago are using Comcast Internet Essentials as part of their programs as well. So it's a great program, and it's being highly used right now. So any more questions around the Digital Navigator program or around PHLConnectEd? And we have a small group here, so feel free to unmute if you'd like to as well to ask a question.
Andy, it's not a question, but perhaps I can extend an offer to anyone on the phone or anyone else that the Navigator organizations encounters, that we have Internet Essentials registration training material that we'd be happy to provide. So I know you can get that through Ashley as well, and through Juliet. But if I could keep 1 or 2 emails off your desk, I'd be happy to. So we have a variety of material, and we can do more specific training on walking through the application. We've done quite a few with organizations working with immigrant and refugee communities. So if there's anyone who needs any help doing all of the important things that Ashley just laid out, please ask. We have material and people willing to help.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah. And we know that CMAC, one of the Digital Navigator programs, has a lot of translation services available too. So we have been referring people to them that that need that service as well. So that they have a great service with that too. So and one of the programs we're offering as well through the Digital Navigator is refurbished computers as well, or some of us have Chromebooks available that have been ordered. We're going to make available as soon as we get them. So if you know of anyone in programs that you're in that need a computer to participate in the programs, please reach out to the Digital Navigators, and we can connect you with a refurbished computer. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Andy. I was just going to say I did include my email in the chat. So if folks need to connect with me for any reason, feel free. And as I said, we're actively presenting to groups. We have, similar to Bob's resources, we have flyers and toolkits that we are happy to share as resources for organizations or for these trusted messengers.
Definitely, and one reason we have this, as being part of TLC, is that it's not just individuals, but it's programs and organizations that have joined as members, and we're sharing this information so you can share it out through your programs as well. So if we really need your help sharing this information out and being, kind of educate programs and organizations to be able to answer some of these questions as well as people have them. So, or at least be able to point them to the right direction too. So if you're not a TLC member, or if your organization's not, you can visit our website at tlcphilly.org and become a member. And that puts you on our email list, which, it's anyone can actually email that if you have opportunities, programs, the trainings that you want to share out with everyone. That's a great list to be able to share that with. And you can always reach out to us as well if you have something you want to offer. Maybe there's an online event you want to share your programs as well. We can always do that again, similar to this as well. That's something we're looking at doing right now, is we haven't been able to hold our conference this year. We are looking to see if we can do a couple more of these online sessions for people, and help kind of share the word about programs, innovative programs around the city around digital inclusion. So, yeah. Are there any more questions out there? Does anyone have any news they want to share around this program before?
I might have missed the answer to the question because I was switching between our socials. But I think Destiny has a question about how fast are the internet speeds? And she noted that some families are large, and would certain speeds be adjusted for them?
Want me to
take
part of that, Ashley?
Yeah, Bob, you can go ahead.
So the Internet Essential speed is 25 down and 3 megabits up. That is adequate speed for multiple students to log on to distance learning at the same time. We do find with Chromebooks, where it's not official, I talked to techs. Our techs recommend that folks using Chromebooks get a little bit closer to the router. And then we're seeing the need to remind people, it's something that the navigators might want to take note of, that router placement in the home is important. Whether it's our router or someone else's wireless router, it shouldn't be buried in a, behind the television or behind a fish tank or in a far corner of the home. It should be more centrally located and in the room where a lot of the use is going to be. Wi-Fi signal does travel throughout the home, but the further away it gets and the more obstructions, it does have a little bit of an impact on performance. So router placement and proximity can help, but for the most part, unless you've got some wayward college student that's downloading all sorts of new gaming demos, then the Internet Essential speeds are adequate for multiple kids to learn simultaneously.
And I believe
I can't speak to the T-Mobile. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the T-Mobile hotspots, I believe, are 4G, so they're same as the cell phone at the moment. So, but they do allow for multiple devices to attach at the same time. So I think usually up to 6, I believe, is what I've seen in the past. I'm not quite sure exactly the. Yeah, but
I will add that we also shifted to a 1-to-1 student to hotspot ratio recently, particularly as we see that some students are learning in multiple locations. So we really want that solution to serve as a student solution because we know that, in any given week, a student might be learning in multiple locations. So that also impacts allows for greater speeds per student.
Yeah, and it was great to see T-Mobile come out with that program to support schools across the country as well. So it's a great combination with Internet Essentials, as we do have a lot of families that are in transitional housing or homeless, and they need that assistance as well. So,
well, Lance, shout out to Lance, who is, we don't see a smiling face, but as usual, behind the scenes doing a lot of work. So thank you, Lance. Lance just posted that Comcast there you are. Thanks for everything that you're doing. Comcast Internet Essentials had a national education summit yesterday. And, across the country, from speakers from academia and technology and all government, all came to the same conclusion that it's going to take a lot of partnerships to close the digital divide. No one company, no one sector. So we really do need, government, education, nonprofits, business, all businesses, not just some, to get involved and do their fair share, where we understand our responsibility. And that's why we're partnering with the city and the school district. But it really it takes a big village.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say to that is, it's not only the students that are being affected by this program, it's actually the whole entire family, especially through, getting Internet Essentials. If families that need to work from home or haven't been able to work from home suddenly have internet access, that just changes, the home in general, and, the work for those adults as well. And even, being able to access city services, the government services through the web is just a great, as we know, we take advantage of it all the time and don't think about it sometimes. And a lot of families just don't have that ability. So I'm just excited about the prospect of how this will change families in general, not just the students. So.
And forums like this, Andy, give all of us an opportunity to listen to opinions and get feedback. Ashley called for feedback. It's so important, and I'm so glad you stressed that. But you know, those of you who we've worked with for a long time know that we've made a number of improvements to the program over the years, and almost all of them were driven by conversations with people in advocacy communities, when we added seniors and veterans and groups like that. And so, you know, our friends in Philadelphia have not been shy, and we have gotten a lot of feedback, and it's driven some changes. So the newest change, which we're starting to communicate this week, addresses what I think has been a little bit of a speed bump for some folks signing up, and that is ID verification. So, you know, we take ID theft and privacy very seriously, and that's why we require all of our customers for all product lines to prove who they are. But there are communities that don't have any of the 30 some odd documents that we accept as ID. It's not just a social security number. We've expanded that. But now we're going to be able to do ID verification through SMS text message, the way, you know, we all are used to with so many of the other services that we take advantage of. So we're going to start communicating that. You'll all get some, those of you on my mailing list, we'll start getting messages about that today, and we'll get the word out to everyone who's helping people to sign up. I think that's going to make it easier for some folks who are concerned about providing a social, or who, despite the fact that we have 30 other documents, that, you know, people in the refugee community may not have any of them.
Yeah, and you know, that reminds me as well, as there is a new program, right, for Parks and Rec sites to expand Wi-Fi as well.
Right.
Yeah, can you talk about that too, Ashley or Bob?
You first, Ashley.
So Bob, I think you might have the correct language though. These are the lift zones, is that correct?
Well, that's our name for them. The Parks and Rec is access centers.
Yes. Yeah, so
go ahead.
At the access centers, we are making sure and updating, actually, as of this week, as we introduce the new one-to-one hotspot, we're making sure that those students have the hotspot, again, the student solution, if they are learning in an access center. I can't remember the total number of access centers, but they're across the city and serve as locations. Families have to sign up for them, but serve as locations where students can conduct their learning during the day, especially if families are working during the day, or you know, if students are unable to be supervised. The access centers serve as those points of learning. And Bob, I'll turn it over to you to talk about the partnership with Comcast there.
Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, this was an interesting situation where a number of different entities were thinking about the same thing at the same time and came together in a partnership, much like the greater PHLConnectEd. The district was looking for places for students to go to learn in a safe space with social distancing and adult supervision, if they couldn't connect at home because they hadn't availed themselves of these services, or if the parents had to go to work. The city, through their Parks and Rec recreation centers, were thinking about the same thing, and we were as well. We were thinking about what partners could we reach out into the community, find out what they're doing during in-school time, and help them by bolstering their internet service. And so it came together, and we call it lift zones because the word lift hasn't been used enough in everything else out there, but I'm not in the branding or naming department. And so as of now, we have supercharged the Wi-Fi in 26 Philadelphia Parks and Rec centers. Well, there's 26 on the list. I'm not sure that all 26 are activated. Many of them are, and we're actively doing it. And we had not been in that business of providing the end user solution in large venues like that. So we've wired a lot of computer labs, as you know, but the pandemic requires that we do things differently. A computer lab with 12 or 20 workstations in social distancing maybe can only accommodate 4 or 6 students. And so we're looking for auditoriums and gymnasiums and cafeterias, bigger spaces where the kids could spread out, be safe. And so we are providing that bigger end user Wi-Fi solution so that a large number of kids can learn in that safe space. So right now it's 26 rec centers on the list. That's not all of the rec centers or all of the access centers that the city has planned, but this is just phase 1 for us. And we're also, you won't be surprised, Andy or Lance, that I'm in there pitching to get some of our nonprofit partners connected with our Wi-Fi solution as well. So more on that later. Again, as Andy suggested, this is not just a Philly initiative, although it started here. We're doing this across the country, across the river here in Trenton and some other cities where there's substantial need.
That's great. Yeah, it's great to hear about that. It's so much better than some of the parking lot Wi-Fi solutions that we've heard, across the country in some places.
It was funny because when the pandemic first started, Dr. Haidt and his fabulous team at the school district put together an exhaustive list of resources where people can connect. And public Wi-Fi spots was one of 20 some odd things, and it was sort of down at the bottom. And unfortunately, people latched onto that and said he was suggesting that people sit in parking lots, which he certainly didn't do. So that was silly. But we did, in fact, open up all of our public Wi-Fi hotspots through the end of the year for not only our Internet Essentials customers, but all customers. And so those are in public places, and they're in retail stores like Wawa's and Dunkin' Donuts. And, those were designed so that we can use our mobile devices on Wi-Fi when we're out and about. It wasn't designed to take the place of an in-home broadband connection or an in-school or rec center experience. But, desperate times call for desperate measures. So one of the things we can do is open those up.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. As we see different solutions, I think Chicago and Philly are getting it right. We're seeing other solutions like I think Austin, Texas had school buses wired with wireless that they're going around to parking lots. People could congregate in parking lots. And I was like, that's innovative. I'm not quite sure that's the right solution. And I'm kind of glad to see the route that we've been going here.
Yeah. There's a lot of really smart, hardworking people working on this. And, Ashley included and leading the cities group. And we're starting to get calls from other jurisdictions around the country asking us to share best practices from Philly. I know there's days that we don't feel like we're in that position because we have so many obstacles to overcome. But the fact is that this movement where partners are coming together, identifying funding and solutions so we can get kids and families connected is really taken off across the country. And while we weren't first, we're fast followers here in Philadelphia, and we do in fact have things to share with the rest of the country.
Yeah, it's great to also see small towns even taking advantage of some of this as well. I live up near Trenton, New Jersey as well, and our small town actually is offering that access to students and families as well, very similar. So it's kind of great to see that they've kind of joined on with a lot of what the cities are doing as well. So excellent. So again, thank you for everyone for joining us today. Again, this is the Technology Learning Collaborative, and we're talking with Ashley Pollard here, who's a program manager for the PHLConnectEd program with the Office of Innovation and Technology at the city, and with Bob Smith from Comcast as well, joining us today too. Thank you for everyone for all your questions, everything else. I just want to kind of leave it open again if anyone has any questions or has anything they'd like to share before we kind of wrap things up.
Let me repeat my thanks to TLC for being in the thick of things and helping to communicate about PHLConnectEd and the Digital Navigators, great organizations who are doing a lot of work on digital literacy outside of the Navigator program. But thank you for doing this. And
Yeah,
Ashley, you're doing a great job. Thank you for being in the lead.
Thank you. And to your point, Bob, this would not be possible with any one entity. So we're always grateful. And to you, Andy, we're grateful for the partnership, as that's what's needed to be able to stand up a program like this. So thank you so much for your partnership. And to participants, thank you today for being willing to learn more about PHL Connected and the digital navigators, and spread the word.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I also just want to say thanks to Bob again for, Bob has been a great partner for TLC over the years, and Comcast has been, has offered us money annually. And also they just give us another, some great funds, around $15,000 to help us hire a consultant to become a nonprofit. So we're actually looking to become our own official nonprofit 501c3, and also to help develop more ways to collaborate with the Digital Literacy Alliance at the city and Office of OIT, find different ways that we can collaborate as well. So thank you, Bob, for that. And we're
My pleasure. I'm a big fan. I just don't understand why everybody else isn't. So love to help with capacity building, because I think the opportunity is there for TLC to play such an important role in the city.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, we are an all volunteer program, so it's always sometimes difficult, especially during the COVID-19 here, to actually get things going, as well as we're all kind of shuffling around trying to figure out how to work from home or run programs from home. It's been difficult to get things up and running. So I'm glad we were able to do this today. And again, thank you to Ashley and Bob, and also to Lance for helping set this up. And thank you for all those that stuck with us and attended, and we appreciate that. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we will share this out via social media and through our email list, the recording and also the slides, if that's okay, Ashley. We'll share the slides out as well with folks as well, so they have access to that. So again, thank you, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions down the line. All right.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, and thanks to everyone who connected with one of our socials over the course of this session. Thank you, everyone.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks.